Hi guys, good evening everyone. I think this is a very momentous day for all of us. Like uh, Rajat mentioned, I'm from Kolkata, so I think we started this community 4 years back, and we started with one chapter which was the brands group, and we just got a few brand founders together and we said, these are disruptors who will change the face of India's retail landscape. And I think we have achieved that to some extent. I think we have certain success stories, and we keep doing events in Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore. But somehow Kolkata never happened because every time we wanted to do Kolkata, we felt that we don't have an audience here, there's not enough entrepreneurs, there's not enough demand. So we did a women's CXO series last quarter, and we planned for 4 cities, but Kolkata is something we had to cancel last minute because we did not get any like we got hardly 50 registrations from Kolkata. So I'm really glad that we made it happen. I think the team, Kshitij, and all the team, all the community partners. I think it's a phenomenal effort to get all of you here. I think just the fact that we are 150 people in this room within the D2C space, I think that's a statement in itself. So I think we have come a long way, but at the same time, I think we're just starting here. I think this meet should be a catalyst to the whole ecosystem. So yeah, I think not having a lot of expectations, but at the same time, I also know that there's always a network effect which happens. And I think my favorite song actually is the song Hakla Chalo Re, right? From Rabindranath Tagore's. So I feel that whatever we do as entrepreneurs, because we all are entrepreneurs here, so we are believers in manifesting what can happen, right? And I think this is a great example of that. And this is just one trigger to something much larger out here. So I believe and I hope that this can be that catalyst. And I would love if all of you join the cause. We started, like Rajat mentioned, we started this group with like 10 founders coming together in 2019. In fact, the backstory there is, before we started this group, I was part of IMI, and I was telling IMI that, hey, let's do something in D2C. And they're like, nahi yaar, koi action nahi hai D2C mein. So I said, okay, theek hai yaar, khud hi bana lete hain, agar kuch IMI nahi karne wala. So that's when we started the group. And today it's very good to see IMI also very active in D2C, and there are so many other organizations which are active in D2C. So obviously in the last 3-4 years, D2C as a space has grown. I think we have gone through some consolidation also now. And now I see a lot of chatter of people saying, hey, why are you wasting your time in D2C, dude? D2C is dead. You should move away. I think we're just getting started here. And the reason I say that is, we are incubating chapters in 20 different cities, from Kochi, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, Indore, all of that, right? And every city we go and we meet local entrepreneurs there. I think the kind of talent and the kind of businesses they're building, I think it's very amazing. So I don't think D2C is going away anywhere. And I think as entrepreneurs, we should not be seasonal or opportunist. We should build fundamental businesses. So for us, it doesn't matter whether capital is there or not there. We should continue building what we believe in. I think one more important part is, like Rajat was mentioning in this community, everyone is willing to help each other, right? We started with brands, founders, then we had enablers, investors, today we have manufacturers, retailers. So we have the whole ecosystem together. But I think the best part here is, and I also run multiple other communities, gaming communities, Gurgaon entrepreneur community, different other communities, and we have a lot of community folks here, right? So I think the unique part about this community is that everyone is willing to help each other, and I think that feeling, right from like you ask on the community, hey, how to use Klaviyo, or is Klaviyo the best? And you'll have Karan from Bao saying, hey, we have used Klaviyo at a scale, and this is the challenges of Klaviyo, right? I think that is a very unique part here. We don't see ourselves as competitors, we see ourselves as part of the same tribe, right? So it's a tribe, and this band we are wearing is actually making us part of the tribe. The idea here is we are all disruptors, we are all challengers in our categories. 5 years back when we started, no one would have believed boat would have become so big, or Mama would have become so big, or let's say a new underwear brand would have come and Davansh has built a 200 crore business in underwear, right? No one gave it a chance. Even Jockey never thought that anyone can come and do that. But today Jockey is actually going after us, right? And they're trying to build e-commerce, and they're trying to attack Amazon. So I think the tables are turning, right? And Marico's is buying companies, and it's great. I mean, if we can make the elephant dance, right? That's the best thing, right? And that's what we entrepreneurs do. We create and we change and we move things forward. And I think this community is a community of people who bring change, right? And whatever we are building is just one manifestation of that, but the impact of that has manifold, right? Because I think consumers were willing, they were waiting for something like this. Consumers had moved on very much earlier. I think the traditional brands were not willing to move on, and that's where we came in, and that's where entrepreneurs come in, right? So I think also obviously Corona and Shark Tank and everything else has helped propel this industry and the whole funding boom which came in. But if you take a long-term view of this industry, I think we're just getting started, and that's what I wanted to also share with you guys on what our vision is on the community side and why we are doing this. A lot of people keep asking, "यार तेरे पास time कहाँ से है? तू ये सब क्यों करता है? You know, how do you do this?" I think the answer to that is the community itself, because as we've kept growing and growing and growing, and you know, in the last 3-4 years, we've now seen our members who have started with us and who have grown, and they come back and give us feedback that, hey, you know what, because of this platform, I was able to get this access, right? And they are willing to give back to the next generation, right? So I think the whole idea is that, you know, someone who's, let's say, at 200 crore, can they help someone who's at 50 crore? Someone who's at 50 crore, can they help someone who's just starting out, right? So it's about giving back to the ecosystem. And I think that is something, you know, which we have seen in the community, and that is what keeps us going, right? So me, Kshitij and Shruti started this community in 2019. I think the good thing has been that we have been consistent at it. We have kept doing it. We have not been opportunist about it. D2C was hot. Now it is not hot. Tomorrow it will again be hot. It doesn't matter to us, right? And I think now we have 68 volunteers who are driving different chapters. So that's a huge thing, and we are all founders building our own startups, right? So definitely time is at a premium. But we believe in the cause, and we believe that, you know, we have got this help from the community, so why can't we help others who are coming into the community, right? So from a vision point of view, you know, our main goal from the community is to deliver growth for our members. So we are a business community, right? We are not here for bypass, we are not here for WhatsApp forwards and good morning and good evenings. So we keep the community very, you know, moderated, and get a lot of kickbacks for that also, right? Who makes you the headmaster, right? But the idea here is that we want to make it very productive, right? And we want to keep it growth focused. And you know, anyone who's coming in the community and being part of the community should be able to get learnings and knowledge and network, you know, out of the community. So we've defined like 4 key tenets for the community. The first is obviously access, and access is what the community creates. So today, anyone who's, you know, coming and joining the community can just plug into access to network of everyone in the ecosystem. You want a supplier, you want a manufacturer, you want a vendor, you want agencies, you want investors. All of us are there, right? The second is obviously networking, and that's what these events help us do. Because what happened was we started in 2019 and then Corona hit, right? And we were chatting for 2-3 years between ourselves, and we became good friends, but no one had ever met each other. So last year, you know, in Delhi, we did our first event, which just happened with someone sending a message saying, guys, let's meet. And we said, chalo, one member said, मेरा farm house है, उसमें करते हैं. हमने बोला 30-40 लोग होंगे, चलो मिलते हैं. That ended up becoming a 1,000 people, you know, event, right? And we had to cap it to 300 people. And that's when we realized that, you know, networking has so much of value for our members. So we said, okay, now let's start doing networking at a scale. So we started doing regional networking events, and now we're doing a D2C Expo in the next 3-4 months. We'll be announcing that. So I think the whole idea is to provide people that face-to-face relationship, right? But again, in a networking session, in a networking meet, you can't like really go deep. You can just talk to someone for 5-10 minutes. It doesn't solve your problem, right? It gives you just a connection. So then we have the knowledge layer, which is workshops, which we had in the morning. We have master classes, and you know, we have we are creating playbooks, which we can float in the community. Questions like how to create MIS, right? That's the most common question in the community. So those kind of playbooks can be created, right? So knowledge is like a very important element for us. And the fourth is capital, because once we have access and network and, you know, knowledge, सब कुछ पता है कि capital तो चाहिए ना, and that's where we have all these investors here who can plug in the capital. But capital is not necessarily just capital, not dumb capital, right? You need smart capital. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs come and ask, hey, should I raise VC money or not, right? So I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't know how to use the capital and what is the right capital. See, every capital is not the same, right? And you know, if you have been an entrepreneur who's raised money and gone through the cycle, you'll understand that. Not everyone needs capital, and there are different forms of capital. And you know, whom you raise money from is more important than the money itself, right? So I think education around that, and you know, creating, let's say, accelerators, and, you know, angel network, and you know, giving them access to the right mentors and founders. So I think that's, you know, these are the 4 things we want to achieve from the community, right? Now, when we started actually this community, it was a so we were, you know, we have been running this. I think बहुत बड़ा हो गया था, down there, get it done. Yeah, I think I just want to let you guys know this, because a lot of you are new here, you're not part of the community, and maybe a lot of you have joined the community very recently. So I think it's important for you guys to know why are we here, what is our goal. So I think 4 things which you have defined as our guiding principle. So now we started building a team around the community and professionalizing the community. So it's very important for us to define our ethos and what are we like, what are the baseline for us as a community, right? So the first thing we have defined is anything we do has to be adding value to the community and not taking away value. For example, in this event, we have sponsors, right? So obviously, you know, when you're taking sponsors, obviously we are dealing with the devil, right? We are very lucky that way. We have like great sponsors. We have people who have been in the community, Chirag and Bhargav and Rajat, these people have been there in the community since long. They understand the community really well. They have been founders in the community, right? So the most important point for us is that we don't want to take away from the community. Whatever we do has to give to the community. And community is always about giving first and then taking, right? That's how it's a cyclic economy, right? So if you join the community and your first question is, guys, give me this, give me that, any contact, no contact. The first thing is, hey, introduce yourself, see who are the members, whether you can add any value. So that is the ethos of the community, right? The second for us is growing the pie, right? Because yes, we started with 10 people, now we're 5,000 people, but I still feel it's not about numbers, it's more about quality, right? And I think when we are incubating these smaller chapters, like we just did our Chandigarh kickoff meet, we did Surat, we're doing Kochi, all of that, right? The reason we're doing that is we believe that we have to grow the pie, right? And East India actually is that mission for us, to grow the pie here, right? It's not that East India doesn't have entrepreneurs. I think because I come from here, I understand that it's a very business family driven economy, and it's traditionally being about business families, and a lot of new generation is coming into entrepreneurship, and I think we need to be a catalyst to enable them to make that transition, right? So how do we grow the pie? How do we get more entrepreneurs in the pie, right? And for that we need to go to tier 2, tier 3. We need to enable bootstrap brands. We started women as a chapter 6 months back. Got a lot of kickback, right? Why do women need a chapter? Why are you creating a women chapter, right? But the whole idea is that if there is a section of the community which requires more focus, then we will have to pay more attention to that segment, right? And that's why we created women chapter. We did women needs. Now we're doing accelerator for women. It's not that we believe that women require a separate chapter. The whole idea is that how do we make it to the mainstream, right? 5 years down the line, we should not need a women's chapter. That's the whole objective for us. So growing the pie is very important, because for this ecosystem, we are not satisfied with where we are. We think the pie is much larger and we want to grow it. The third is we actually believe that India can create global brands, right? And if you have been brand building, you will always be told that you can't go global. India cannot create brands. All the brands are born out of US and Europe. So I think that is changing because the new generation which is coming in. I think they're coming from HULs and ITs and McKinseys. I mean, these people are building brands, right? So I think the talent quality is very different from what it was 20 years back. Second, I think D2C is the right platform for a lot of these brands to go global, right? To access the consumer directly. So D2C is democratizing brand building overall, right? So we believe that India will create global brands, and we want to be a platform which enables our brands to become mainstream globally, right? Not just in India. So today, boat is, let's say, the #1 brand globally in wearables, right? Why can't we have 100 more boats out of India, right? I know it's a very tall vision, but I think visions are supposed to be tall, right? Otherwise, what motivates you to wake up every day and do this, right? And I think the fourth for us is how do we make sure that brands who are in the 0 to 1 phase go to 1 to 10, and then brands who are in 1 to 10 go to 10 to 100, right? So these are the 4 things we want to achieve out of the community. I just wanted to let you guys know about this so that you understand what is our vision and mission. And I think we are very early in the journey and there's lots to be done. Thanks to all the volunteers, core team members. I would just like to also acknowledge our partners for the event. So thanks to Pop and GoQuick as our co-partners. Thanks to Emiza, who is our supporting partner. Our goodie bag partner, Emiza, again, Emiza has put together all the logistics of the goodie bags. I'm sure you guys will take away the goodie bags when you go. But it's a huge task, and there's a back-end story of how the goodie bags happened. Everything was crowdsourced, and all the brands came together to put together the goodie bag. And it has now become like a property for us. Like we partner with Tycon and other events, and they say, hey, we need your goodie bags, right? So our goodie bags have become, and it's great for the entrepreneurs also, because when you are sampling through the goodie bag to founders, I think the kind of network you are creating and the kind of trials you're generating, and we have brands which have got great fan base out of goodie bags, right? Also, I would like to thank our ecosystem partners. I think in Calcutta, it was a tough job for us to get the awareness high, and I think Alkesh from Thai, Head Start, Abhishek from Cedars, Piyush from NRI, Free Flow Ventures, Ravi from Velocity, been a great support, Utkarsh from the Circle, Ankit from Dexter Ventures and Cafe. So I think we have had a bunch of these community partners who have helped us outreach, get all of you together. And without all of you guys, this was not possible. Also, I would like to really mention our volunteers for the East chapter. So we have Vinita, Muskan, Surbit, Ashwarya, and Shravanti, right? So I think these volunteers really are our real heroes, right? Because these are the guys who are driving the chapter, and I think we should definitely give them a big applause because taking our time in volunteering is very tough. Yeah. And lastly, I think our core team members, because like I mentioned, now we are building a full-time core team because we realized that running this pro bono is very difficult for us. We can provide the vision, we can provide the network, but eventually someone has to execute this, right? So now we have Ashutosh, we have Prasannata who's joined us in the content side. Ashutosh has joined, and he's actually leading this entire event operations end to end completely. So big cheers to him. And obviously Aman, and then we have Madhuri. She's handling on the social side. We have Akshay who's not here, but he's handling all the creatives. We have Arun who's handling finance. We have Sachin here. Sachin is the guy who built the goodie bags originally, so it was his brainchild. And we have Rashmi who's helping us on the content side. So I think all of us together, and I would invite all of you to join the cause. Join, if you want to volunteer, please come forward. We have 34 chapters. You can contribute to women chapter, each chapter. Category-wise chapters. There are a lot of things which we are doing. We are now working with ISB. We're working on a research paper for D2C with the professors of ISB. I think there's a lot of work to be done in this sector. I think a lot of fluff has happened. I think this is the right time to actually build depth in the sector, right? And I think we have guys like Piyush here, who spend a lot of time in the consumer side. We have Sanjay sir, he spent so much of time in the consumer side. So I think all of your experience, because I think D2C, we are just in a small circle within D2C, right? But I think there is a bigger circle out there, and I think now it's time for us to go and borrow from the larger circle, not see them as a competitor, but not see increments as a competitor, but as an opportunity to learn from them. So all the D2C brands are going online, offline, and we are going there. So I think it's time for us to learn from them. So I think the next goal for the community is something like omni-channel, right? How do we get all the shopper stops of the world and all the offline guys in the community, because eventually now it's about collaboration, right? So I would just like to end this with a note that I think this is just the start, and I hope that this can be the catalyst and all of you actually can make it happen. It's all in us, right? Because it's not like someone else is going to come and do this. We have to do this, and I think East India has such a huge potential. It's just a start, and if you guys can give out some time and effort, I think the impact of that is so huge, the network effect is so huge that you'll be astonished yourself, right? So yeah, great, thanks a lot guys, and I'll give it back to Lizard. Thank you.